Ever wonder how a shoe goes from like a flat piece of leather to this perfectly formed, masterpiece, one that fits like a glove?
Yeah,
Well, get ready.
it's pretty amazing.
We're diving deep into the world of the hand-lasting operator.
And trust me, it's way more intricate than you'd think.
Oh, I bet.
We're not talking like assembly lines here.
Okay.
This is about, skilled artisans, people who shape footwear by hand using techniques. I mean, these things have been around for centuries.
Okay, so I've got a stack of insights here from RoleCatcher.
Okay?
They help people navigate their career paths, right? Career guides, interview tips, all sorts of cool resources. And we're going to use those to explore this career path that you, my friend, might find fascinating.
Excellent. So, let's start with RoleCatcher's career guide, hand-lasting operator, just to break down, like, what these artisans actually do.
Okay, so hand-lasting operators, they shape shoes by hand, right?
Right.
But what does that actually look like? I mean, are we talking like tiny hammers, tiny nails? What's the deal?
Think more like specialized tools and a whole lot of finesse.
Right.
So imagine you've got a shoe upper. That's the part that covers your foot.
Right.
You need to mold that over what's called a last. Now, a last isn't just a foot-shaped model.
Uh-huh.
It's more like a sculptural representation of the foot. It's really key to the final, like, form and shape of the shoe.
Oh, okay. So you've got the leather, the last, and what else? What are they using to actually, stretch and shape the material?
This is where it gets really interesting. They use a bunch of different hand tools. Pincers for, like, pulling and stretching the leather. Hammers for tapping it into place. And then these specialized pliers. They use those to create those, like, crisp, defined edges.
Uh-huh.
And this is where the strength and the precision that we talk about really comes into play. Because they're working with all the different parts of the shoe, right?
Uh-huh.
The forepart, the waist, the seat. Each section needs, like, a specific touch.
Yeah.
A deep understanding of how that leather behaves and how it'll ultimately, like, mold to the foot.
Wow, I am already getting a feel for the level of detail involved. It's like every millimeter matters in this craft.
Absolutely. It's about achieving that perfect balance of tension and form. And that's what determines, how the shoe fits, how durable it's going to be, even how it feels when you wear it.
Okay, I'm starting to understand why you don't see droopy, lopsided shoes from a skilled hand-lasting operator. It's not just about putting pieces together, it's like shaping the structure of the shoe.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh.
The career guide, it talks about how these operators, they often work with, like, all kinds of footwear, boots, sandals, you name it. So, it's specialized, but there's room for versatility too.
I love that. And speaking of versatility, the guide also kind of delves into the pros and cons of the career,
Right.
which I think is super relevant for our deep dive today. So let's break those down. What are some of the upsides they highlight?
Well, first and foremost, the demand for skilled hand-lasting operators, it's growing. And it's not just about, replacing factory workers. It's about meeting this demand for, like, custom handcrafted footwear.
Okay, so we're talking about a career path with some real potential here.
Exactly. It's this blend of artistry and technical skill that's, like, highly valued today. But of course, like anything, like any career, it's not without its challenges,
Right, of course.
The guide mentions that the work can be, physically demanding,
Mm-hmm.
requiring, stamina and strength.
Okay, so we're talking about a craft that requires, real stamina.
Yeah.
Physical and creative. It's not just about having strong hands. It's about having a focused mind.
Exactly. And, remember earlier when we were talking about shaping that leather over the last?
Right.
Imagine the focus that it takes to make, like, those tiny adjustments with every stitch, every curve. It's almost meditative.
Yeah. I can see that, like, that blend of intense concentration, but also, like, meticulous handwork. I mean, it makes you appreciate the artistry behind, like, a well-crafted shoe even more.
It does. And this is where I think, your interest in that hands-on work really connects to this career.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not just about the technical skills. It's about that personal touch, like understanding how these materials behave and how to shape them into something that's both functional, but then also beautiful.
And speaking of, like, connecting the dots, one of the things I found really interesting in the RoleCatcher guide was how they, like, break down the potential career stages for a hand-lasting operator.
Yeah.
So it's not just a one-and-done kind of job. There's, like, room for growth, specialization.
Absolutely. They describe how, as you get more experience, you might move into, like, training and mentoring. You're passing on your knowledge to, to newer operators.
Yeah.
You kind of become a guardian of the craft in a way,
Huh.
making sure that these like traditional techniques, they're preserved,
Oh, wow.
passed down.
So you start by mastering the craft, like yourself, and then you transition into like sharing that expertise, guiding others. That's a pretty cool trajectory. Like you become a master craftsperson, but then also a teacher.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there.
Oh,
At more senior levels, hand lasting operators, they might collaborate directly with design teams, provide input on, the feasibility of certain designs, or like suggest improvements based on their experience.
wow. So you go from like shaping individual shoes to actually like shaping the entire creative process. That's a pretty powerful evolution.
It is. It's this like true collaboration between artistry and technical expertise. Imagine like being able to say, I know how to, bring that design to life. And here's how we can make it even better.
Talk about leaving your mark on the industry, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this path of like you start as an apprentice, then you become a master. You could potentially even like collaborate with designers. But I also remember you mentioning something about entrepreneurship. How does that fit into the picture?
So that's where, kind of the modern landscape of footwear comes into play.
Yeah.
Remember how we were talking about the demand for like customized handcrafted shoes?
Right.
Well, that's created a space for hand-lasting operators to branch out on their own,
Yeah.
to become entrepreneurs.
So instead of climbing that traditional ladder, they might build their own workshop, set their own hours, be their own boss. I can see how that would be appealing to like someone with that entrepreneurial spirit.
It is. And it's not just about like the freedom and the flexibility. It's about pouring your passion into like create something truly unique, something that like bears your signature as a craftsperson.
Yeah.
Imagine having the skills to like craft bespoke footwear, cater to niche markets, even like build a brand around your own style and craftsmanship. It's a different kind of, reward. One that's driven by, the creativity of the satisfaction of like building something new.
It's like you said earlier, this isn't just a job, it's a launch pad for like a whole range of possibilities.
Oh, exactly.
And that common thread through all of them is that like deep connection to the craft, that dedication to quality and artistry.
Yeah, you got it. And that brings us to a crucial aspect that we haven't even like touched on yet, which is the actual day-to-day experience of a hand-lasting operator.
You're right. We've talked about the skills, the career paths, the entrepreneurship part of it, but what's it like to actually be in the shoes of a hand-lasting operator?
Right. That's where this career guide really, really comes to life.
Yeah.
It paints this like vivid picture of the work environment, the tools, the sights, even the sounds of like a typical day.
Okay. I'm ready to like step into that world. Take me a picture. What am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling like as I walk into a hand-lasting operator's workspace?
Okay, so imagine this. You walk into...
Okay, so we're about to step into the world of the hand-lasting operator. I'm ready for the sights, the sounds, the smells. Take me there.
Okay, so imagine this. You walk into this workshop, right? And it's filled with this like earthy scent of leather adhesives.
Oh, yeah.
The air, it like hums with this quiet energy. You hear the rhythmic tapping of hammers, the whirring of sewing machines, maybe even some, classic tunes playing in the background.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so we got ambiance down.
Yeah.
What's the actual work setup look like? Is it one of those like charmingly cluttered workbenches I always picture?
You're not far off. The career guide mentions that it can vary. I mean, it could be anything from, this bustling factory floor with like rows of workstations to like a smaller, more intimate studio kind of setup.
Yeah.
But no matter what, you'll likely find each operator with their own like dedicated space.
Okay.
Equipped with all those specialized tools we were talking about. Pincers, hammers, awls, knives, all meticulously arranged within easy reach.
It's like a surgeon's table, but for shoes.
Yeah.
I bet organization is key in this line of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's where the RoleCatcher guide gets even more interesting. They talk about how, that work environment, it fosters this like sense of camaraderie, collaboration.
Oh, really?
You might have seasoned operators sharing, tips and techniques with the newcomers, or maybe even like a friendly competition to see who can do the most intricate stitch work.
I love that. So it's not just like working alongside each other. There's like a real sense of community, a shared like passion for the craft.
Exactly. And it's something you don't always find in more automated industries. It's that human connection, that shared knowledge
Yeah.
passed down, for who knows how long.
Hmm.
Makes it really unique.
It reminds me of like those old world guilds, where the master craftspeople would mentor apprentices, keep those like traditions alive.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of tradition, I know you're all about learning by doing.
The best way.
So picture yourself at the bench, right? You can feel the texture of that leather in your hands, and you're learning how to use these tools to like coax the material into shape.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. I can already like feel that satisfaction of mastering those techniques,
Yeah.
creating something, beautiful, functional with my own hands.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop there. Remember we were talking about technology, like entering the field.
That's right.
The guide mentions that, some workshops are incorporating things like 3D printing to make like prototypes,
Mm.
laser cutters for like precise pattern cutting.
Interesting. So it's not about like replacing the hand craftsmanship. It's more about like using tech to enhance certain aspects of the process.
Right,
Right.
exactly. It's finding that balance between, the tradition and innovation. You can leverage the modern tools, but you're still like preserving the heart of the craft.
It's like a dance between like old world techniques and cutting edge technology, all in the name of creating something like truly exceptional.
Exactly. And that, I think, really sums up what it means to be a hand-lasting operator.
Yeah.
It's more than just making shoes. It's about carrying on this legacy of skill, artistry, dedication, but also like embracing the evolution of it all.
Well said. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to a world, honestly, I knew very little about.
It's pretty incredible.
And I think for our listener, someone who values that hands-on work, learning new things, like the career path of a hand-lasting operator, it might just be the perfect fit.
Yeah, it's like this hidden gem of a career. One that offers a level of like satisfaction and creative fulfillment. I don't know, it's rare these days.
Absolutely. So, to our listener, if you are looking for a career that challenges you physically, mentally, that lets you work with your hands, lets you create something tangible, that connects you to this rich history of craftsmanship, then honestly, the world of the hand-lasting operator might be calling your name.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe someday you'll be the one sharing your expertise,
Yeah.
passing the torch to that next generation.
What an inspiring thought. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of the hand-lasting operator. We hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as we have.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hands busy. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.